my creative tribe. So I did a little bit on the game last night, more writing and design thoughts and that. And I watch a lot of videos in here and there because I'm always thinking about game design, how I can improve, and I'm always trying to learn. And then I watched I wish I could recall the fellow's name, and I apologize. But if you look up, I'm sure if you look up GDC and colorblindness, you'll come across the video. He talked about colorblindness, and I've always been colorblind, but it's always felt like, it's rare for me to meet somebody that's colorblind like I am. If they are, they're usually quiet about it. It's not something I make a big deal out of. It's just the way it is. I still see colors. I just get confused on certain colors. Like driving at night in the city is horrible for me because a green light looks like a street light, and so I have to really watch because I can't see it until it changes. So I don't always know where it's at. It's a lot of things like that. I've had jobs that they color code everything, and it made it really hard to learn the system because I had to come up with my own system to be able to do the job. I've always compensated. And then designing, doing photography and art, I've always worried about, well, do I got the right color? And I had to get a lot of verification from other people to make sure I've got the right color. And it's always been my thought process. And going into game design, I've always like, oh, is this the right color? But it occurs to me, being a colorblind person and playing games, it is awful. I love games. I play video games all the time, but I have to stay away from games that use colors that too many colors, or excuse me, like bubble shooters. I like bubble shooters. They're a fun little time waster, and I'd love to play more, but there's so few that use such contrasting colors that I can tell what they are, that I can actually play the game. Because most of the time, several of the colors look the same, so I'm always shooting the wrong bubble. And it's frustrating, so I give up on it. I think the only one that does for me, and it's still a little bit of a struggle, but it's not as bad, is like a Bubble Witch. They have very strong colors. It's fairly easy to tell them apart. But yeah, so he made a good point. There's so many, like war games. There's so many I love to play, but I can't play because I can't tell the difference between team members and, by the little marks above their heads. I watch my grandsons play, and I'm like, how do you tell which one's the end? Oh, that's easy. It's this one. And I'm like, how? The color. And I'm like, oh. So I'm going to start design games that I can play. I'm not alone in that there are a ton of other colorblind people in the world. So my colors, I'm going to stick with a pattern that my eyes, and there's different kinds of color blindness, but the one I have is the most common. So I'm going to try to stick with colors and design that make it easy for someone that's colorblind to identify. So I think that's going to be my approach moving forward as far as color goes. I was so worried that, I want to make sure, the normal people can see this as it should be. But then I'm excluding myself and others like myself that can't see it. So I'm kind of is like an epiphany. I've always been colorblind. I've always had the struggles. I've always known, but it just never occurred to me that why shouldn't I design a game that I can see these things too? And so I've got to find a balance between what I can see and what people will find still aesthetically pleasing that see colors normally. So it's probably going to be an experimentation of colors. it shouldn't be too, because I'm just red green deficient, so I see colors. Like I know I'm wearing a blue, a red, and maybe a yellow. It just depends on the type of colors, the shading. Like I can't tell the difference between green and brown sometimes, blue and purple, red and violet, yellow and orange. So I'm going to stay with a more mainstream color so it's easier to identify. But that's it. Just wanted to share my thoughts on that. This week's almost over. I've got after Sunday, it should settle back down again, and I can do a little more. I mean, I'm still working on the game, but only in short bits as I can. So hopefully next week will be a little more productive. But you all have an awesome day. Create something awesome, and I'll see ya.